welcome back to the It's Beyond Me podcast. It's Drift Nasty.
Pretty T.
And today we're going to be talking about these train derailments that's been going on. We got one in Ohio, one in Texas, and one in Denver so far that we know of.
It just seems like it's kind of, I don't know whether to call it planned or just a mere coincidence that 3 happened all in the span of a couple of days apart from each other. They all carrying the same type of products. And
toxic products.
Toxics, hazardous material.
Hazardous.
And at the end of the day, it's just weird to me how they're trying to cover it up and make it seem like it was just a mere accident. If it wasn't for the fact that there's TikTok, YouTube, and other social media, people would not know about what's going on, about all these videos of people throwing a rock in the water and the chemicals just bubbling up, about all these people with the chemical burns, people having problems breathing because of all the fumes and all the chemicals in the air.
Chloride.
There's a toxic material in the Ohio train derailment that you need to know about. It's called vinyl chloride. 5 of the cars that derailed in East Palestine were carrying the chemical compound, which is a hazardous material used to make plastic. 3 days after the accident, responders did a controlled burn of the cars carrying the substance out of fear they would explode. But even that was risky. When vinyl chloride burns, it can create phosgene and hydrogen chloride. And according to the CDC, phosgene is a major industrial chemical that was used extensively in World War I as a choking agent. The CDC said that among the chemicals used in the war, phosgene was responsible for the large majority of deaths. And it's not just the gases that are concerning. Vinyl chloride is a known human carcinogen that's been linked to an increased risk of a rare and exceptionally deadly form of liver cancer, known as hepatic angiosarcoma. The substance is also linked to brain and lung cancers, lymphoma, and leukemia.
There's more than one toxin that was released in these train wrecks. Vinyl chloride is like a gas that irritates your respiratory system.
It's a chemical that's used to make PVC pipes, and the problem is when the train in Ohio derailed, it was carrying more than just vinyl chloride. It was carrying quite a number of different chemicals, and then they rushed to try and do a chemical burn and burn some of the stuff out. But by burning it, they actually made it worse in some cases.
Because they release it into the air.
And, I just kind of feel like there's a whole big cover-up being done right now because they're so quick to cover it up, but they're not explaining the fact that why all of a sudden are we having all these accidents?
And why he said it's a cover-up, because you can go and look it up, look at the videos on YouTube or whatever, Google it, check it out. But when you try to look up that derailment that happened in Texas, then you can find videos of them saying that there was nothing spilled, there's no leakage going on.
One person is dead after an 18-wheeler collided with a train in the Splendora area, causing that train to derail. This was the scene here about 35 minutes north of Houston. At least 7 train cars came off the tracks there. Hazmat crews are on the scene, but there are no leaks from the cars. That's the good news here. Police said, though, that it could take a total of 15 hours to clear that scene.
But yet they're in hazmat suits to go and look at the train derailment. And then later you find out, there are some toxins that were released during that train derailment. So I don't believe in nothing about coincidences, especially when it comes to government. Let's just get that off the rip. I'm no fool. And the fact that we got 3 different areas, 3 different states in the country, all having the same product be leaked out, toxic, dangerous products, stuff that's affecting your body, things that affect your brain, because the fluoride one, which we'll get into with some videos here in a minute, but the fluoride thing totally attacks your brain, and it's in everything. They told everybody where the trains was, make sure you stay inside, and make sure you drink bottled water. But fluoride is in your bottled water especially. It's in your tap water too, don't get it twisted. But see, with tap water, you get a bonus with a bunch of metals. So your bottled water, you don't have the metals, but now you have an amped amount of fluoride in there.
Water electrolyzer, because I don't know, it looked really cool. And right here is tap water. And here is water I buy in my little town at this place. It's supposed to be the equivalent of Kangen water. Well, as you can see, it's riddled with fluoride, because that's what color that means. Now let's look at the tap water. Look at the top of the colors of the layers. So you can see there's a layer of white, black, red, I would guess is what I would call that. So this has been in here for probably like 10 minutes or so. It only takes a few seconds before you can start seeing stuff, but I really wanted to see, you know, what all would come out of this water. Look at that. That's disgusting. Okay, so here's what the colors mean. You can pause to read what they all mean, but so you can kind of get a feel for what you're looking for. And let's just get some of this out so I can show you. Put it on my counter. Look at that. That came out of my tap water. You can see all the different colors of stuff in there. That's disgusting.
Attacking your brain, a neurotoxin. It's in your toothpaste. It's in your mouthwash. It's in the water. Anything that you use to make water, your sodas, your beers, anything that requires water has fluoride in it.
I just find it funny that, you know, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Vinyl chloride it'll cause cancer on your liver cancer. It's pretty much cancerous. It'll cause a whole bunch of different cancerous situations for you. It's very toxic. It's dangerous. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, if you're not getting that, you got to drink all this water that has chloride in it, and that's either fluoride in it, and that would affect your sleep, your blood sugar, your what else?
Your brain usage.
Your brain usage, development.
Bone development.
It
causes all kinds of issues in newborns.
It makes you look at the government a bit sideways, because now you're looking at them like, okay, so what exactly is going on over here? What's the plan?
Hello, I'm Michael Connett, an attorney with the Fluoride Action Network. If you live in the United States, the odds are pretty high that fluoride chemicals are added to your tap water. Fluoride is added to water as a way to prevent tooth decay. Although health authorities in North America continue to promote fluoridation, a number of communities have recently decided to end their fluoridation programs. In Canada, the number of people drinking fluoridated water has dropped by about 25% since 2008. So why are some communities ending fluoridation? Fact number one, most developed countries do not fluoridate their water. In the United States, health authorities call fluoridation one of the top 10 public health achievements of the 20th century. Few other countries, however, share this view. In fact, there are now more people drinking fluoridated water in the United States alone than the rest of the world combined. In Western Europe, for example, 97% of the population has water without a single drop of fluoride added to it. Fact number two, fluoridated countries do not have less tooth decay than non-fluoridated countries. It is often claimed that fluoridated water is the main reason the United States has seen a significant decline in tooth decay over the past 60 years. However, this same decline in tooth decay has occurred in all developed countries, most of which have never added any fluoride to their water. There is no discernible difference in tooth decay between the minority of developed countries that fluoridate their water and the majority that do not. Fact number three, fluoride affects many tissues in the body besides the teeth. 500-page review of fluoride's toxicity. The report concludes that fluoride is an endocrine disruptor and can affect many things in the body, including the bones, the brain, the thyroid gland, the pineal gland, and even blood sugar levels. So far from giving fluoride a clean bill of health, the NAS called on scientists to investigate if current fluoride exposures in the United States are contributing to chronic health problems, like bone disorders, thyroid disease, low intelligence, dementia, and diabetes. Despite 60 years of fluoridation, many of the basic studies necessary for determining the program's safety have yet to be conducted. Fact number 4, fluoridation is not a natural process. Fluoridation advocates often claim that nature thought of fluoridation first. By this, advocates mean that fluoride can occur at naturally high levels in some water supplies. However, lots of toxic substances, like arsenic, and even some medicines, like lithium, can occur at naturally high levels. This doesn't mean that they're safe. Plus, the level of fluoride that is found in the vast majority of fresh surface water, like rivers and lakes, is far lower than the level of fluoride added in fluoridation programs. The main fluoride chemical that is added to water is not what most people would call a naturally occurring compound. It is a corrosive acid captured in the air pollution control devices of the phosphate fertilizer industry. So why is fluoride captured in air pollution control devices? Because fluoride gases are hazardous air pollutants that, if released into the air, cause significant environmental harm. Today, if you go to a grocery store, it can be difficult to find any toothpaste that doesn't contain fluoride. In addition to toothpaste, many processed beverages and foods made in fluoridated countries also contain elevated levels of fluoride. This is because when you add fluoride to water, you don't just add fluoride to the water itself, you add fluoride to all of the foods and beverages that are made with that water. And there are other sources of fluoride as well, including fluoride pesticides, tea, Teflon pans, and some fluorinated pharmaceuticals. The concern today, therefore, is not just about the safety of fluoridated water by itself, but the safety of fluoridated water in combination with all of the other sources to which we're now exposed.
Hazardous materials have been transported around America for years. Why is it all of a sudden you guys cannot, what's going on?
And they all derail at one time. That's totally
in a span of a couple
totally
of days.
Believable to be just a coincidence.
In a span of a couple of days. That's the part that has me confused, because it'll be one thing if it was one crash that happened. I'll be like, okay, it's a freak accident. It happens. But now you got 3 accidents all happening in a span of a couple of days. Is this a terroristic event? What's going on?
And again, when you burn all those things, all of that goes into the air. Now, with that being said, the fluoride situation, or maybe it's the chloride, one of the two, excuse me, but they're found in the plastics. So it also makes me think about how in Kissimmee, just last week, there was a big fire pertaining to a plastic plant out there. And so all of those fumes are also released into the atmosphere. I just think that it's a little funny that this is all happening at one time. And again, things that attack your brain, they where there's places where they have high levels of the fluoride, they're dumber than the ones with lower levels of fluoride.
In July of 2012, a team of Harvard scientists warned that the developing brain may be another target for fluoride toxicity. The Harvard team based this warning on a large number of studies from China that have found reduced IQ scores among children exposed to elevated levels of fluoride during the early years of life. 12 of the studies that the Harvard team reviewed found IQ loss at levels of fluoride exposure currently deemed safe in the United States. And one of the studies, which was sponsored by UNICEF, found IQ loss among nutritionally deprived children at the same level of fluoride that is added to water in fluoridation programs.
To me, I think that this is strategic. Obviously, we're in a weird time right now. I don't really have time to get into all that. I don't want to get off topic, but we're in a weird time right now. And I feel like this is a way to keep you stagnant, keep you dumb, make you not be able to hold focus. It keeps you from reacting the way that we would normally react. It's basically something to help keep us in the slave mind. And that's just the fact of it. It targets your pineal gland. There's a lot that the pineal gland goes into, a lot of things that it does. If you're a spiritual person, then it does a lot on a spiritual level. You know what I'm saying? If you're religious and you consider yourself like a spiritual person, then you're going to be able to relate with the things that the pineal gland does, because it's basically another eye, a third eye, if you will, in your brain. And it calcifies that. It turns it into a stone. It makes you not be able to use it. And you have to understand that is strategy. Those things are being done on purpose.
To keep us docile.
Imagine what you can do.
Near the center of the brain, we find a tiny pine cone-shaped gland, which may be one of the most wondrous parts of our physical body. We know that the pineal gland produces serotonin and melatonin, neurotransmitters which regulate waking and sleeping cycles, as well as playing a crucial role in mood. But it may also be true that the pineal produces DMT, or dimethyltryptamine, a neurotransmitter which creates a natural psychedelic state of consciousness. If so, then this little gland plays not only a crucial role in our psychological well-being, but it may hold the key for unlocking the true potential of humanity.
In this gland, there is floating water, a reservoir of water, with crystals that actually have piezoelectric properties. There's also another thing called piezoluminescence. If you have a little lighter, and you hit the lighter, and then you get that little spark that comes out, that's from a crystal being compressed. And as the crystal is compressed, it releases photons. In your brain, you have these little floating crystals that actually have that quality. And even better than that is there is another characteristic called piezochromism. Piezochromatic crystals are crystals that can release any color of light in the rainbow. Dimethyltryptamine is the main chemical that seems to do this. When DMT is chipped out of a tray that it was synthesized in, you hit it with a screwdriver, bam, you get these big bursts of colored light. Big burst of red, big burst of green, big burst of yellow, big burst of blue. Well, you have these little crystals floating in your brain. DMT is this, dimethyltryptamine. It's the theory is that it's what's released by the pineal gland that gives us these elevated states of insight.
Maybe DMT is the lens of our pineal gland, allowing us to see wider areas of reality than are normally accessible to our senses.
You remember that image of like a Buddha with a halo? There's always a halo around the Buddha's head, or Jesus. People say there's a cross behind him in that halo, but it's the beams of light. It's exactly what you can learn or remember to activate.
Many ancient esoteric traditions and mystical schools knew of the potential of the pineal. The ancient Greeks believed it to be our connection to the realms of thought. Buddhists know it as a symbol of spiritual awakening. In Hinduism, the pineal connects with the third eye chakra, the seat of intuition and clairvoyance. Jesus proclaimed that the eye is the lamp of the body, so then if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. If Rene Descartes is right, and the pineal gland is indeed the seat of the human soul, then these traditions are correct in believing that it serves as the connecting link between the physical and spiritual worlds.
Each chakra connects in to an organ. So what fascinates me is the sixth chakra plugs into the pineal gland. The pineal gland has photoreceptors on it. And yet they knew that thousands of years ago before they ever knew that there were photoreceptors on the pineal. So that to me, it shows you that we know a lot more in the past than we even do now with our technology. The pineal gland is lined on the inside with tissue called pinealocytes. These pinealocytes are similar to the rods and cones in the retina of your eye. That's right, it's the third eye. Your brain has a third eye in the center, and it has retinal tissue. It also has the same wiring as your physical eyes do to the visual cortex in your brain. If you have little crystals that can vibrate and release all the colors of the rainbow, and people claim when they go out of body or have a near-death experience that they see a silver cord. There is a cord linking their astral body to their physical body.
Indeed, it appears that the pineal gland is our connection to higher dimensions, giving us access to the psychic and spiritual realms.
It's well known that fluoride interferes with functioning of your endocrine system, the glands. These glands are the gateways to spiritual connection, to energetic layers. And I think what's really going on here is that fluoride shuts the door to spiritual connection.
So if you kind of keep the brain locked down, whether it's fluoride in the water, shut down the pineal, aluminum to disrupt the nervous system, these artificial sweeteners, then we're just in a pen.
We clearly are not as aware as we could be of our potential and are not living a life that probably is as healing or as generous or as nurturing as we're capable of doing. This is why you get so many people today who are somehow convinced, and mainstream science is teaching this, that you are nothing but a biological skin bag, and that you do not have any existence beyond the physical. You have no consciousness, you have no spirit, no free will, and when you die, you're dead and gone, and that's permanent. That's a very dangerous philosophy.
And we are dealing with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, ADHD, all of these neurological diseases. And so I think there's a concerted effort to dumb down the population so that when they figure these things out, they're paralyzed and don't know what to do, don't know how to respond, or simply can't grasp the concept that it is happening, which is the bigger picture. What people don't realize is that your consciousness is governed by light, and the pineal gland is the center of consciousness.
The brain chemistry works in accordance with this. So when you wake up in the morning and the receptors in the back of your eye pick up light, the moment that happens, your optic nerve sends a signal to the pineal gland, and the pineal gland starts making serotonin. And serotonin is the daytime neurotransmitter. This is all brain chemistry. Light hits your eyes, hits pineal gland, changes chemicals inside your brain. Serotonin suddenly erupts in your brain. You get happy. That's all part of consciousness, and it's all guided by the sun.
The energy of the Earth is higher than it was in 2012, and it will continue to increase. All of the solar storms that are bombarding our Earth has been proven to create psychoactive experience.
And so the color of light changes your consciousness. And if the sun is changing, then it's possible that our consciousness is changing. And it's all, I believe, part of this greater awakening that we're going through at this time. This pineal gland activation, you could call it that. You could call it the coming golden age. You could call it the energetic shift that we're going through at this time. It could be that the changing nature of the sun over the last 20 years is what's causing the great awakening that's happening.
Imagine what you could do if it wasn't calcified. Why would they go into such lengths, spend money, right? Put money into making sure that you can't use that gland.
I kind of feel like it's all a conspiracy to just really keep us docile, keep us controlled, keep us from opening our minds, opening up our full potential.
It is. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. We already know it to be fact that we can't use our whole brain. Who's to say that that's why?
A chemical suit, but because today we're dealing with a very dangerous toxic element known as fluoride. And in order to handle fluoride, you have to be in a protective suit. Although everybody is exposed to fluoride on a daily basis. Folks out there who are watching, they might think this is overkill, but it turns out, you know the chemical weapons used in Syria not too long ago? Well, according to the British press, a raw material used to make chemical weapons was allowed to be exported by the British government to Syria. Well, if you look at the press reports, that raw material was nothing other than sodium fluoride. The same stuff that's rat poison? Yeah, exactly. It's also the same stuff that's put into products such as toothpaste, mouthwash, and even a baby water product that we're going to test right here on camera. But it's just important for people to note that you can take sodium fluoride, you can use that to make a deadly nerve gas poison known as sarin gas, which was actually created by Nazi scientists. And that's amazing that it's in our water supply and it's in all kinds of prescription medications. And even since 1939, when fluoride was first introduced into the water system, it was introduced to concentration camps because it calmed people down and it made them lethargic, and they were able to control people better and reduce their aggression. Making them docile. And this is a pretty quick test, but it does take a few seconds, Ed. So this test is fairly precise, so we can actually do exactly what we want here. Now we're going to take the fluoridated water. It's called nursery water. And we're going to take a very precise pipetter. I feel sorry for the guys who have to actually carry and hold that toxic fluoride in those suits all day, dumping it into the public water system. Right? So now we're going to take our sample and we're going to run the test on that. There we go. We're going to put it in a fluoride detection meter. We're going to press read. There we go. Wow. Over 2 parts per million is what this meter is saying. Over 2 parts per million. Flashing means it's over 2 because 2 is the detection limit of this meter. Now this product, this baby water product, says that it contains 1 part per million of fluoride, sodium fluoride. This meter is reading 2. Who knows? Maybe this meter is reading too much, or maybe there's too much in there. We don't know for sure until we do more tests. But they both agree that there is sodium fluoride in this baby water product, and it is well known that sodium fluoride is an ingredient that can be used to make nerve gas.
And I also just want to say that I find it highly funny that this same chemical that they're saying is safe enough for you to use in your everyday life, no matter what it is, it's in literally everything, is killing off wildlife. They have to evacuate people from out of that Palestine, Ohio area where that trail derailed. They're evacuating the residents there. But it's safe enough for it to be inside of everything that you use in your day-to-day life.
All plastics.
I want you to think about that long and hard. Not just the chloride thing, because we're talking about fluoride too. Your artificial sweeteners. It's in rat poison, y'all. It's in your toothpaste, mouthwash, water, any form of liquids. It's in so many things. It's toxic to your body. It's toxic to your brain. But it's not toxic enough to where they can't put it into everything. Too toxic for you to be around whenever it spills out of a train, but not too toxic for it to be in a product that you're gonna buy.
No one knows this. Do you know where the fluoride? Do you know where it comes from? The fluoride added to the water. It's from the phosphate fertilizer companies. It's hydrofluorosilicic acid.
It's a byproduct.
That's the nice way to put it. Yeah. It's a waste product. It's a waste product that they're not allowed to dispose of, because when they were disposing of it, everything around the plants was dying.
Yeah.
So they had to start figuring out what to do with their waste. So they said, oh, perfect. We're going to bottle it. We're going to show that fluoride's great for your teeth. So we're going to bottle this acidic, nasty form of it, and we're going to sell it back to the counties. So just like everything else, our tax dollars are paying to poison us. And it's just insanity.
Vinyl chloride typically started out as a different chemical, sometimes TCE, sometimes PCE, and then in the environment, TCE and PCE undergo a process called degradation. This happens over time, but that means that the TCE and PCE can degrade into vinyl chloride. In either case, factory or landfill, the vinyl chloride winds up in the groundwater, and that's where the problem starts for human beings. Because if that groundwater is the source of a family's water supply, for example, if the family has a private well, which is basically just drawing water out of the groundwater right underneath the family home, then if there's vinyl chloride in that groundwater, that's what's coming out of the family's kitchen tap, for example, or the shower head in the bathroom. And if that groundwater has vinyl chloride in it, that's what the human beings are being exposed to. They're drinking it or it's touching their skin. But there's another way too, where vinyl chloride in groundwater can be a problem. Vinyl chloride has a property known as volatilization. It volatilizes. It turns into a vapor. And when it does turn into a vapor, it starts to seep back up through the soil and toward the basements of homes and businesses. Vinyl chloride in air or in vapor form can seep into the breathing air of homes and businesses without people even knowing it, and through the tiniest of cracks. It's colorless and odorless, so people can be breathing it, or for that matter, drinking it, or it can be touching their skin, and they don't know it. So it's sneaky in that regard. And very dangerous too. There is absolutely no safe level of vinyl chloride in your air or in your drinking water. No safe level. Also, every serious science organization that I know about that studied its health effects has concluded that vinyl chloride is a carcinogen in human beings. It causes cancer.
And like he just said in that video, another thing that is pretty key to think about is when he was talking about how vinyl chloride can naturally be produced, right? Okay, yeah, it could naturally be produced as two other agents and could possibly, in a minute chance, turn into that. Now, how does it turn into it? With the help of people in labs, right? Now, I want to take you back, it's still going on, but back to when it was actually being talked about how the planes were spraying things in the air. Okay, so whatever's up there has to come down here. So when you spray that spray, and then it gradually falls to the soil, and then it seeps down in the soil, if you're getting your water supply from the ground, then you would be at risk of that, right? So then the scare tactic would be, oh, well, if you get your well water to where you're not being billed for your water, somebody's not processing off of your water, well, then you could be dying. So you need to get rid of your well, and you need to get you some pipeline from us so that we could charge you for your water now.
It kind of feels like they're forcing you to stop living off the grid.
Exactly. They want you to rely 120% on them, no matter what, at all times, for anything. food, water, anything. And then the water that you are using, they're putting this stuff in. It's going out onto the plants. The animals that we eat are drinking it. It's always coming back to us. And I don't think enough people are really hearing what I'm saying right now. No matter what you do, these things get inside of you. Regardless, there is no win. This is a chess game. And this is exactly what they love to talk about with chess. No matter what you do, they got something waiting for your ass.
I'd like for you guys to tell us what you guys think. Do you think this is a conspiracy? Do you think it's a coincidence? Do you feel that, you know, things just happen because they happen? If you do, please comment, like, and subscribe. Tell us how you feel, and we'll get back to you.
If you ever were curious on what it would look like when your government turns against you, this is what it looks like.